Today we will recap the story of the 2023 movie, Transformers: Rise of the Beasts. During an invasion, a group of robots called Maximals try to stop Unicron from stealing their greatest technology, the transwarp key. Afraid that the artifact will fall into enemy hands, Ape Link asks Optimus Primal to take it away and transfers to him the responsibility of leading the Maximals. Then the Primate stays behind in order to confront Scourge and prevent him from getting the key, as Unicron plans to use it to open portals through time and space to destroy as many worlds as he wants. During the battle, Ape Link has his chest pierced by Terracon and loses his ability to fight when his enemy attacks him with a laser weapon. However, before he perish, the ape tells Scourge that his master will be trapped in that galaxy forever, because the key has just been taken to another planet. Furious with the news, Unicron orders him to scour the universe for the artifact, and when he finds it, use the transwarp key to transport him there. A long time later, in the year 1994, Noah lives in Brooklyn with his mother and younger brother. The young man is unemployed and about to go on a job interview that he is counting on a lot to be able to help his family. His brother, Chris, suffers from a chronic illness, the treatment of which is very expensive. Knowing that his family cannot afford it, he tries not to show how bad he is, but Noah realizes the gravity of the situation and worries about his brother's health. On the other side of New York City, Elena works as an intern at a museum and her boss invites her to appraise some pieces. Some police officers are there because they have seized an art auction and the owner claims that all the artifacts are authentic, but the authorities need an expert opinion. During her evaluation, Elena spots a beautiful eagle that has been carved into a rock and notices the presence of some peculiar symbols in the carving. Before the artifact is taken away, the woman decides to write the symbols she saw on the palm of her hand. On his way to his interview, Noah takes his brother to the hospital and leaves him there to receive treatment. However, as he is leaving, he is approached by the supervisor of that place and the woman says that Chris cannot be attended to because his family is 3 months behind with medical bills. Upon hearing this, Noah promises that he will find a way to get the money, but the woman insists that the young man leave and he must take his younger brother to accompany him to the interview. When he arrives at the company, the young man discovers that his interview has been cancelled and goes after Mr. Bishop to understand the reason. The businessman then tells him that Noah's former commander called him and said that although the former soldier is brave and a technology expert, he doesn't know how to work in a team. As a result, the man decides not to hire him, and Noah returns home in frustration to his brother, who tries to cheer him up the whole way. When he arrives at the door of his house, Noah asks Chris to come in while he goes after Reek in order to see if he can get some kind of work to make some money. That night, the duo goes to an antique vehicle gallery in town and Noah has to break into the place to steal one of the antique cars that is in the garage. Meanwhile, Elena begins her investigation to find out what that eagle sculpture is, and during her analysis, the stone structure begins to crumble, revealing the presence of a hidden artifact. At this moment, the woman despairs for fear of losing her job. But after uttering the words printed on the object, a signal is sent into space, attracting the attention of all the Autobots on Earth. When he arrives at the garage, Noah is guided by Reek to find the most valuable car in that place, and then given the coordinates on how to unlock the door. After entering the vehicle, he tries to hotwire it, but just when everything seemed to be going well, a message appears, requesting the presence of all the Autobots. Suddenly, a guard approaches and orders Noah to get out of the car, but the Porsche starts up on its own and begins a run. Desperate because he is being captured by the vehicle, the man asks for Reek's help, who abandons him when the police show up. The Porsche then crashes the car and causes a serious accident to avoid pursuit. The next moment, new police cars appear, and the escape continues. As they cross a bridge, the vehicle produces numerous projections of itself to throw off the authorities and manages to get away from the last remaining vehicle in the chase. When the pair reaches a safe location, the Porsche transforms and reveals its true identity. Mirage belongs to the Autobot lineage and, seeing that Noah is intimidated by his presence, tries to reassure him with a friendly gesture. Then the rest of the team shows up, and the young man is in shock to discover that there are other aliens roaming the planet unbeknownst to anyone. When Optimus Prime arrives on the scene, he begins interrogating Noah and discovers that he is a former soldier in the United States Army. Therefore, the leader of the Autobots decides to leave him aside for the time being, as he needs to resolve a more urgent matter. RC then tells that the wave of energy she and her friends felt was emitted by the transwarp key, which can be used for the purpose of opening space-time portals to planets anywhere in the universe. If they find this artifact, the Autobots can return to Cybertron, so they begin to think of a way to steal it from the museum without raising suspicion. At this point, Mirage gives the idea of asking Noah's help to break into the place, and in return offers him money, because he knows that this is able to buy off most of the humans. During a brief search, Elena manages to discover the origin of the key, and meanwhile Noah arrives at the museum along with Mirage, who is disguised as a truck. Minutes later, some Terracons appear and approach the scene, as they are also looking for the transwarp key. The young man is about to enter the museum when all the lights go out and Elena prepares to leave the place immediately. She is about to leave with the artifact in her hands when Noah appears and tries to steal it. Elena tries to stop him and runs from one side of the room to the other to avoid being caught. Just then, one of the museum guards appears and the woman feels relieved, but soon a big explosion happens in the room and the signal stops being emitted. The Terracons then approach and Scourge sends small robots to retrieve the key. Afraid of being hunted, Elena gives the artifact to Noah and they both must flee. It is not long before Mirage and his friends show up to help them and attack the Terracons, allowing Optimus Prime to duel against a worthy opponent. In that instant, the couple tries to survive the chase and hides to avoid being found by the mini-robots. When Elena was about to be attacked, Noah knocks the creature down and they both run out of the museum together. In the midst of the war zone, they try to protect the artifact and prevent it from being taken by the villains. However, the Autobots end up losing the battle, as they did not expect to face such a powerful opponent, and even Optimus Prime is defeated. While Scourge eliminates the leader of the Autobots, Nightbird takes the transwarp key. In an attempt to protect his friend, Bumblebee rushes toward him to attack him, but ends up being struck and eliminated in front of his allies. Just when the battle seems to be lost, a giant robot eagle approaches and attacks the Terracons, who eventually manage to escape with the artifact. Then Airazor approaches and asks the group to escort him away from there. The creature belongs to a group called Maximals, who fled their planet when it was on the brink of destruction and sought refuge on Earth. The bird explains that those creatures that attacked them are servants of a hungry god who needs to feed on entire worlds to sustain himself. Unicron gives his servants a kind of dark energy that makes them almost invincible. However, the good news is that the key is not yet complete, as Scourge has managed to steal only one half of it. Because of this mistake, the robot ends up being punished by his master, who orders him to find the other half as soon as possible. According to Airazor, the Maximals have broken the key into two pieces in order to keep it safe. The two pieces have been hidden separately and even he has no idea where the second half is being kept. As far as he knows, the robot Hawk is the last of its kind, so there is no way to find out where the second part of the artifact is. However, Elena suspects that it is in Peru, because all the research she did indicated that the marks found on the stone sculpture belonged to the Inca Temple of the Sun, which is in Cusco. In order to ensure the safety of Earth, Elena and Noah decide to accompany the alien robots to Cusco, but before they leave, the young man goes to say goodbye to his brother. Mirage watches the pair through the window and ends up catching Chris' attention after destroying one of the vehicles that was parked on the street. When he sees the alien, the boy acts naturally and shows that he is not frightened by the novelty. Chris plans to accompany his brother on this adventure, but Noah asks the boy to stay home and look after his mother until he returns. After saying goodbye, Mirage takes Noah to the rendezvous point and Stratosphere appears shortly thereafter to take the Autobots to their destination. During the trip Elena is very nervous, as it is her first time leaving New York. So, to try to calm her down, Noah strikes up a conversation with her and manages to distract her. When he finds the second half of the key, the former soldier plans to destroy it, as he believes this is the only way to ensure that the Earth will be safe. However, this will prevent the aliens from returning to their planet and cause them to be stranded on Earth forever. After a long journey, the group finally reaches their destination and Wheeljack appears to guide them to an ancient church, which was built by the Spanish on top of an Inca temple. The problem is that the whole town is closed because of a festival, which will make it difficult for cars to get to the church. Mirage suggests that his team wait until nightfall to carry out the mission, but Optimus Prime says that they need to retrieve the artifact as soon as possible. Otherwise, Scourge might find it first. With the goal of destroying the key, Noah offers to carry out the mission with Elena's help while the Autobots keep an eye on the Terracons. Before he leaves, the young man receives a device from Mirage, which he can use to call for help if he needs it. The duo then wear some costumes to blend in with the crowd and walk towards the church while the Terracons are in the ruins of the town just watching everything. Scourge's plan is to wait for the humans to find the artifact so that Freezer, his little robot, can steal it. When they arrive at the ancient temple, the duo begins searching for secret passages and Elena accidentally finds a way to open a hidden cave that leads underground. As they go down the hole, the Autobots keep watch to make sure the Terracons don't approach the site, but they don't realize that they are already in the city. After reaching the underground, Noah uses the device given to him by Mirage to light the way and they both find a tomb with the Autobot symbol on it. After opening it, they realize that the tomb is empty and find only two symbols inside, which Elena draws on her hand. Suddenly, the duo is attacked by Freezer, who approaches slowly, but is unable to capture them. While running away from the creature, Noah uses the communicator to call for help from Mirage, who calls all his friends to help the humans. During their escape, the couple ends up surrounded, at which point the former soldier discovers that his communicator is also a weapon capable of firing shots. Then, after being shot, Freezer is eliminated. At this point, the Autobots are on their way to the temple and are surprised by the arrival of the enemy. Optimus Prime orders his friends to continue their mission while he tries to stop Scourge. However, new Terracons appear and Wheeljack almost gets hit by a missile, but RC manages to deflect the attack and shoots the enemy. Then Battletrap uses his chains to grab the van and drives it off the cliff. When he realizes that the Autobots are losing the battle, Airazor decides to intervene and is also hit. Since they are unable to defeat their enemies, Prime and his allies decide to flee, but Scourge still has a card up his sleeve. Lost in the forest, Noah and Elena try to find shelter and are surprised by the arrival of a giant gorilla. The robot starts interrogating them and Mirage appears to defend his friends, but ends up being captured by a cheetah. When Wheeljack appears, he is run over by a rhino-shaped Maximal and Optimus Prime points a gun at the gorilla. A new battle is about to begin when Airazor appears and is surprised to find his old friends again, as he believed they had been lost in space. The Eagle then introduces his old companions to his new allies and tells them that they too were of the Maximal's lineage. At this point, Airazor explains that Scourge is looking for the other half of the key, and Elena states that it was not in its original hiding place. Upon hearing this, Primal reveals that he has taken the artifact elsewhere in order to keep it safe and says that he will guide that group there. Curious to learn more about that species, Elena asks who the Maximals are and Primal says that they belong to an advanced race whose goal is to expand life throughout the universe. They used the transwarp key to visit new planets that are still in formation. However, when Unicron destroyed their world, the survivors of their people took refuge on Earth and began living with humans from a tribe that has been caring for the Maximals for hundreds of years. The second half of the key is being held by these people and Optimus Prime tries to convince the Primate to hand it over to him. However, Primal claims that by doing so, he would be putting the Earth at risk and is not willing to sacrifice another planet. Now that they have found a safe place, the Autobots can let their friend rest in peace and Bumblebee is placed under a bed of raw energy. That night, while resting, Elena hears a noise and decides to go out and investigate. In the middle of the forest, she finds Airazor acting in a frightening way, as if his body were possessed. Startled by the creature, the woman begins to scream and the Autobots soon move into attack position. Knowing that a battle is about to begin, Primal hands Noah the key and asks him and Elena to hide it in a safe place. Instead, the former soldier plans to destroy the artifact and is about to shoot it when Optimus Prime appears and manages to talk him out of this idea, for if the key is lost, Cybertron will be lost forever. At that moment, Elena takes the object and ends up being captured by Airazor. When Primal finds her, it is already too late, because Scourge has managed to get the key. On Terracon's orders, Airazor attacks his leader and the gorilla tries to get his friend to take control of his own body again. However, no matter how hard he fights it, the Eagle cannot avoid being controlled by Scourge and attacks Primal again. During the fight, she asks the gorilla to eliminate her, as she does not wish to cause any harm to her friends. Having no other choice, he destroys his friend and Elena delivers the sad news that Scourge has taken the other half of the key. Now, with the artifact complete, the villain creates a portal to transport his master to that world, dooming the entire planet. Determined to protect the Earth, Noah teams up with his new friends in order to devise a plan to prevent Unicron's arrival. However, Primal states that now that the transwarp key has been activated, it is impossible to stop the process, as any interruption could cause it to explode like a bomb. The only way to close the portal is through a code that was split along with the key. However, the first half of this code was lost with the elimination of Airazor. Luckily, Elena drew in her notebook the code she found on the stone sculpture and the one written in the cave, thus forming the code needed to stop the opening of the portal. According to Primal, the bridge is made up of a series of tunnels that are too narrow for the robots to get through. However, Noah and Elena are able to easily walk through them to reach the central control and use the code to deactivate it. They will then need to remove the transwarp key to close the portal before Unicron enters the Earth's atmosphere. Meanwhile, Autobots and Maximals will attract Scourge's attention so that he doesn't notice the invasion. The first to come out of the portal are Unicron's minions, who attack their enemies to prevent them from approaching the key. Meanwhile, the humans enter the tunnel to follow to the control panel, so Mirage says goodbye to his friend and goes to distract Scourge. At this point, Optimus Prime and Primal team up to attack the Terracons and Battletrap is the first to be defeated by the duo. While trying to eliminate Mirage, Scourge realizes Noah's plan and manages to capture him, but Elena continues the mission. Immediately, Mirage attacks the robot to defend his friend and ends up being seriously wounded. Next, the villain intends to fire a blast of energy at Noah, but the Autobot sacrifices himself to save him. After winning the battle, Scourge sends another mini-robot to eliminate Elena. The portal is already big enough for Unicron to get through, and the path to the control room is destroyed, so Elena will not make it in time. Against this backdrop, Noah is almost hopeless. However, when he sees that Mirage is still alive, he is filled with courage and the bodies of his two friends merge to eliminate his enemy. At this point, Optimus Prime appears to help them and they both attack Scourge together in order to increase their chances of victory. While trying to reach the panel, Elena is attacked by the little robot and ends up losing her backpack. When she is about to fall, she manages to knock the creature into a pool of lava and then retrieves her purse, for that is where her notebook with the drawings is. During the opening of the portal, a strong energy wave dissipates and hits the place where Bumblebee's body is resting. Maximals and Autobots are losing the battle against Unicron's army when Stratosphere appears, bringing Bumblebee onto the battlefield. Before he reaches the ground, the warrior already starts shooting at his enemies and Nightbird goes to meet him to attack him. However, it is Terracon who ends up being destroyed. Just then, Elena manages to get to the panel and must figure out how to enter the codes to close the portal while her allies prevent the enemies from approaching. Together, the two alien species work to defeat the Terracons before they take over the planet, and Optimus Prime is still trying to eliminate Scourge, Unicron's most loyal servant. When Elena completes the code to close the portal, the one attacks her and opens a breach so that the leader of the Autobots can destroy it, tearing its head off. However, now that the panel is destroyed, the portal cannot be closed and Optimus Prime decides to destroy the key himself, even though he knows that this strategy may cause his elimination. When all his friends have distanced themselves, he draws his enemies close and explodes the transwarp key, causing the portal to begin to crumble. Then everything around it is sucked back into it. But Noah returns to rescue his friend and, with Primal's help, prevents Optimus Prime from being taken away as well. Now, the trio must escape before the portal disappears completely and manages to escape alive after preventing the entire planet from being consumed. Since the key was destroyed, the Autobots lost their chance to return to their planet, but gained new allies in the fight against evil. After succeeding in his mission, Noah returns home and is finally able to hug his family, leaving Chris extremely relieved to see him. A few days later, the former soldier is interviewing for yet another job opening and sees Elena in a TV report. The woman became famous after sharing her discovery with the world and revealing the existence of the Inca temple that no one had ever found before. During his interview, Noah is asked about his resume and tells that he recently had an international work experience. At this point, he discovers that Burke already knows all about his alien mission, and the man reveals that he belongs to a secret government organization that specializes in global threats. Burke says that, at the moment, his team is in the middle of a war and would very much like Noah to join them in this fight. If the former soldier accepts the proposal, the organization will pay for all the treatment of Chris' disease and the boy will have access to the best equipment and professionals on the planet. Noah is then introduced to a secret room and discovers that he has just joined an organization called G.I. Joe.